Welcome to vblog 29. This is Business 135, fun with math and Excel. Hey, we're in Chapter 4, talking about banks, checks, that kind of stuff. Hey, let's click on Check Register 3 and Bank Statement. Check Register 3 and Bank Statement. Those are sheet tabs. We want to figure out why in the world we would have to reconcile. What does the word reconcile mean? It means to take two different things and bring them together to some compromise or to some equality. Reconcile difference of opinions you've heard before, and of course you take two different opinions and you compromise until you come to some agreement. With bank statements and checkbook registers, they often have different balances, and so you need to reconcile them. You need to actually prove that they're the same. Now, it's very simple to figure out why. Let's click on bank statement here. Notice it says NSF, not sufficient funds, so one of our customers bounced a check. ATM withdrawal, whoops, that one is hopefully over here. Service charge, that's definitely not in our records because we don't know about it until we see this. That is an example of something that the bank knows about that we don't know about. I don't see any service charge over here listed on ours. So the essence of why we have to reconcile is because there's some things that the bank knows that we don't know, and there's some things that we know that the bank doesn't know. Let's go over to our checkbook register. This is deposit. So to DS56 and then for $1,303. Let's go over to our bank statements. I do not see a deposit there on the bank statement. Right, so we must have deposited this, and they haven't received it yet. There you go. There's an example of something we know that the bank doesn't know, and that's it. Why do we have to reconcile? Why do we have to reconcile the bank statement and our checkbook? Because the two documents are different, and we have to prove that they're the same. Not only that, but we have to verify the accuracy of not only what we have, but what the banks have. A great common mistake is when we write a check for the right amount and we mail it off to the person, but we accidentally write it for the incorrect amount in our checkbook register. When you get the bank statement, you will find that mistake because the bank statement will have the right amount withdrawn from the account, but you'll have the wrong number written down. Outstanding checks, that's the one term we need to know. They don't use deposits in transit here, but that's very common. That means we made a deposit and they don't know about it yet because it's still in transit. Outstanding checks, that means checks that are really, really smart and good looking. No, just kidding, not that kind of outstanding. It means we wrote a check and it hasn't been received by the bank yet. Alright, let's click on our sheet tab, reconciling. Alright, so we want to reconcile. Now, here it is. I set up, this is very similar to the textbook. Again, bank statements don't always look like this, and business checkbooks don't always look like this. By the way, the reconciling form they have does look like a lot of the reconciling forms. On the back of your bank statements, there's always a reconciling form, and they actually have pretty good directions. They tell you when to subtract and when to add and all that. So let's go ahead and step one is always going to be comparing the two documents and finding out the things that are here and here. We just put little check marks by them. And then when we're all done finding all the things that are on both documents, whatever's left would be items that are here but not here, and items that are here in our checkbook registers that are not here. And then you use those items to reconcile. All right, so let's just go back and forth. Let's see, check number 1257 for $75. Oh, 1257 for $75. So I'm going to put a little check here in this column. Boop. This is I have set this up. Escape, undo. I have set this up with a little drop-down arrow. It shows you a funny little thing there, a little, I don't even know what it's called, but you click on that. There's only one thing on the drop-down arrow. It puts a check mark. That little thing in the cell is a character, and the check mark is from font. So, for instance, it's a wingding. You can see right there. If you click over here, it says Arial for font. If you click right here, it's wingding. That is a character that's being formatted with wingdings. Anyway, I put a check there, and I put a check here. Notice what's happening. I put something pretty cool there, fancy. It automatically yellows. And this check mark is what most people do, but some people actually take a highlighter pen as they're going through the two documents and highlight them too. All right, now there's looks like a deposit for 120112. Oh, look right there. So I'm going to put check mark. Check mark. Again, those noises do help with Excel. Sometimes Excel gets pretty tricky, and if you can't get it to work, you make those little noises, and sometimes that helps. All right, there's a check to 1259 for 836.15, 836.15. So that's on both documents. What about this 400? Check 1260. Sure enough, 1260. 1260. 1261, I don't see it here. Okay, so that's something that we know about that they don't know about. Next item. 1262. 1262. Aha! And they're the same amount, so we can put a check mark by that. Notice we skipped over an item there. Returned check. ATM. Interest credit. Service charge, check payment. Okay, so next item, we're going just methodically down this one, right? So 12631. Nope, I don't see it there. It's not there. How about this deposit? 86550. No, I don't see that either. There's lots of stuff. How about this ATM? 40, 45, 60. Yeah, let's go right here. The dates are dramatically different. I bet you what happened is we actually withdrew it on this day, boop, or close to that day, and we forgot to put our checkbook till much later. The date's on the receipt, so maybe there's something a little fishy there. But there's our 40. There's our 40. Now, all the items that are left green and all the ones that are white are the ones that we need to use in our bank reconciliation to prove that they're really both the same. Because look, our records say $3,743.96, and the bank says we only have $2,935.71. What is that's terrible. The bank thinks we have less. Well, there's some activity and some activity, so let's reconcile them and prove that we actually have the same balances. Before we do that, I'm going to take a look here. Return check. If the bank statement shows a return check, would we add that or subtract that to our account? Subtract. How about service charge? Do we add that to our checkbook? No, that's a subtraction. How about a charge for checks? Do we add that? No, that's a subtraction. So I'm just going to quickly see how much, in fact, we need to subtract from our checkbook. I'm going to come down here and say total subtractions. Enter. I didn't spell subtractions right, I think. F7 is the keyboard for. The F7 key is the keyboard shortcut for spell check. That goes back to WordPerfect in the 80s. All right, so now I'm going to click in cell L20, and I'm going to hold Alt and then tap equals. It guesses wrong, so I'm going to click on this 4907. And what's the keyboard shortcut to highlight areas not next to each other? Control. Interest? No. These two here, like that. Enter. 68, 67. I did that just because when I get to the bank reconciliation, it'll ask us for all of our subtractions from the bank statement that we don't know about. All right, now let's scroll over here. We're going to have to do a lot of scrolling here. I must have a frog in my throat. We're going to have to use a lot of scrolling. There's a scroll there. Actually, you guys don't have to because you guys can just have it maximized. I'm going to have to do a lot of scrolling, back and forth. All right, it says, and you just read from the top down, and it's pretty straightforward. Compare the list of checks paid by the bank in your record. List the total checks not yet paid. Those are outstanding checks. So we're going to list them here. Let's go over to our records. 1, 2. Go back over here. Now the number, I'm going to say equals. Scroll over and it's check 1261. And I'm going to hit tab because that'll get me over to this cell. The amount is, better make sure. Yeah, it's 2533. Enter. Notice that if you have a little list like this, it brought it over there. The check that we need to get is over here. It's 1263 tab equals. Scroll over, make sure I got the right one. 9737, enter. All right, so back to our bank reconciliation here. Let's add these up. Alt equals, look at that, it guessed right. Enter. So 122.70. Those are checks, a total of the checks we wrote that the bank doesn't know about. Now, here's the deal. We have two numbers, and I'm just going to do that right off the bat. We're going to put our balance for our checkbook and our balance for the bank statement because they're different. And guess what? These little lines right here, double lines, we're going to adjust the bank statement number till we get a number, adjusted balance, and then we're going to take our checkbook number and get an adjusted number, and they better be equal. All right, let's do this. Where is the ending bank statement number? Equals, and I got to scroll. You guys can just click. There it is, that number right there. Enter. Now I'm going to come down here, get our checkbook number equals. Click over on the checkbook, our checkbook ending balance, and enter. There it is. Those are dramatically different. The beauty of this bank reconciliation is that we are going to prove that they're actually the same. Now, what's nice about the back of your bank statement is that they give you pretty good instructions. Enter new balance from bank statement. Boom. List any deposits made by you and not yet recorded by the bank. So you would list them all here. We only have one. Equals. Again, this is the bank statement, so these are all the items from our records that they don't know about. So I scroll over. Boop. Yeah, there's one deposit. So I click there, enter. Now, down here it says add all numbers from above lines. So I'm going to, in this cell, it has a little total there, Alt equals. Oh, it didn't guess right. Here's a little cool trick. You could just take your cursor and click and drag, but watch this. This little the dancing ants, there's actually a blue box underneath, and if you point to the edge right there, see that diagonal line right there? That means you can click and drag up. Wow, that's a cool trick. Enter. Now, total of checks outstanding. Remember, the outstanding checks are the really good-looking, smart ones. Oh, no, just the ones that haven't been cashed yet. Equals, and click on this total right here. Now, there it is. It tells you total checks, and then it subtract line 4 from 3. We probably could have figured that out without those, but that's pretty polite. This one minus this one. Enter. There it is. When we calculate the balance on the other side, we better get that number exactly. If we don't, then we know there's some trouble. That's $3,678.51. All right, this is exciting, man. I can't wait to prove that they're actually the same. All right, now let's read these. To reconcile your records, list your checkbook balance. Okay, so we got it there. Write the total of any fees or charges deducted by the bank and not yet subtracted by you from your checkbook. Hey, that's even worded kind of nicely, so it's easy to understand. Well, we already added up all these subtractions, so I'm going to say equals. And there it is. I'm going to click on that. Enter. Now, subtract line 7 from 6 equals our balance minus all of the subtractions we don't know about yet. All right, there we go. $3,675.29. Add interest credit. Oh yeah, we had some interest. Equals. Click on that interest. There it is. Enter. Now here's the drum roll. How about Alt equals to add them up, and then you can do your trick right here, or this one, whichever one. Let's do this one again, right? I'm going to click Escape just to show you the other trick. Alt equals. Then you can just take your cursor and boom, boom, like that. Ding, 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 ding. It worked. Now I want to show you a super cool way to have a little formula that will tell you when they're actually in balance. Click down in cell Y42 equals this cell equals this cell. That's a funny formula. It's a true-false formula. It's a logical formula. In fact, this is what the first part of that if function uses, is a logical function. True. That formula there, you can see it up in the formula bar there, it's always going to come out either true or false. That's it. Let's just accidentally type the wrong number here, 3.2020. False. That formula turns to false. That is spectacular. Look at that. We're learning logic in here too. There it is, 320. Let's click undo, and boom, that 322 is the number we want, and it comes back to true. All right. So there you go. Chapter 4. Get busy working on Chapter 4, and we'll see you next vlogs for Chapter 5. Ooh, I got to turn this off.